Oh, good morning, Michelle. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you, my lovely. It's a beautiful day here, which makes a nice change. So how are you doing?
No, exactly the same as you. The rain was starting to lash down about an hour ago, and then the sunshine came out, and there was a double rainbow. So I thought, well, that's great for us today. I
that
thought
is a sign. It's meant to be. And a really amazing day ahead. I love that. That's brilliant. Well, Arlene, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me this morning. It's an absolute pleasure just to be able to speak to you about your journey, you know, through the assaults that sadly you've experienced, and just to talk to you about how you've overcome that. So anyone watching this either now or on record can just really see, you know, how you've overcome that and just found the strength and resilience to push forward. So I know we've spoke about sort of, you know, a little bit of a script for today's session, but I also would like to just kind of keep the conversation really nice and sort of free flowing. Obviously, feel free to divulge as much or as little as you want. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm just honoured to be part of this platform, because I think when we've experienced what we have and we've gained tools along the years, and I'm probably 10 years on my healing journey, it's good to give the people out there who are listening advice or just some sort of other avenue to go down, because you don't know until you start listening to what other people have gone through and how they reacted and how they got their help.
No, absolutely, I agree. And I think the more people like yourself that are happy to kind of share that story, the more others are likely to resonate, and then perhaps in time when they're ready as well to have the confidence to be able to speak out. And I always say, you know, abuse breeds in silence, I think, personally. And I think the more of us that can sort of speak out and be very courageous, because it's not easy, is it? Don't get me wrong, but kind of speak out, use their voice in whatever way they're happy to do so. It will give hope and faith to other people.
Yeah, because exactly. And I think with the abuse, it's the humiliation that's behind it.
Yes.
And the guilt. It's not your fault, but it's the humiliation and the guilt that you have to carry, because you know your next step is either letting someone know, or if you don't do that, it's keeping it in within you until there comes that time in your life that it needs to come out. And it's trying to let people know that it's not your fault, and we do believe you when you start to talk your truth.
Absolutely, definitely. I completely agree. So my lovely, can you just start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, please?
Of course. So my name is Arlene. I have been a personal trainer and a fitness instructor now for 35 years. I am a single parent with 2 children, and we have a lovely dog called Winter. So if you see me nipping down and picking up this little wee blonde ball of fluff, right? Her name's Winter, and she probably feels my nerves, so she'll usually sit on my lap, and then, you know, she's an amazing little wee dog. To be fair, she's probably healed my heart.
I love that.
And has been on my journey with me. So I can even hear her now whining, going, but she's all good. She's all good. So I've been a personal trainer for 35 years. And now I've been more with my social media platform. I'm more of a motivational speaker, and just letting people know the healing journey I've been on these last 10 years and what tools I've gained along the way. And usually that's where I get my clientele from, to be fair. They see what I've gone through, and through fitness and frequencies and my functional strength training tool, the Boom Bar, I help people get themselves back up from abuse, from trauma, from the isolation side. And that's my purpose in life, Michelle.
Brilliant.
Building each other up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that. And I think that in itself is really inspirational, because to go through, you know, any trauma in life, but actually to use that for the positive to support and help others is just amazing. It just shows great strength and resilience, Arlene. So good on you.
Oh, thank you. But that's also helped my journey, helping others.
Yes.
You know,
I know
you're sharing. You're sharing each other's stories, and it's when you see how low they were or how broken they were, and then you turn them into this badass warrior woman with this amazing spirit taking on the world, and you go, I helped like enough with that. And then they're off and they've got new relationships or, you know, new families, and they're soaring. And that's what I'm trying to let my customers know, my clients know, that we're here to thrive. We're not here to just survive or just go through the daily grind of the abuse.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And I agree. And I think often, you know, life's too short, isn't it? And again, I don't say that as in it's an easy journey, because I know we both know it's not. But I think, you know, it's really heartwarming when you can help others. And I often think that kindness then has a knock-on effect. That person will then help someone else. And it's just spreading that love and care and empathy and compassion, isn't it? And I think, as you rightly said, with abuse, a lot of people will sadly feel actually they hold the shame, they hold the guilt, and they hold it wrongly, because it's not our shame and guilt to hold, is it?
No, it's not. It really isn't our shame and our guilt to carry. And that's the cowardly way of the predator. They put on their low self-esteem. They put on their injustice onto us because we don't see it coming, obviously. Sometimes, you know what I mean? But you don't at the end of the day. And to get and to go through that and experience that, which is in my circumstances, one was a really good friend and one was a family member. So, and you trust them.
Absolutely,
and you trust them with all your heart, you know. And I think that was where a lot of my anger came from, because it was like, you would never have believed that they would do such a thing to me when we had this trust, or we had this, you know, like this father mentorship, or you know, you see them as a father figure, and and there's that boundary, you know. And then, but these predators, they manipulate you on that journey for many years.
It doesn't just happen overnight, does it?
Oh no, they know exactly what they are wanting to do.
That's it. And I think, as you rightly said, I think, you know, or often it's that believing. You mentioned sort of, you know, you can't believe it personally, but then I think because we can't believe it, we often think, well, if we tell whoever else, close friends, family, go to any sort of authority as such, like, well, how are they going to believe it? Because he's charming behind, you know, in the public, he's this and he's that, and, you know, why would they believe us? And again, I think that sometimes, I don't know if you agree, whether that sometimes stops people coming forward, because they almost have two personas, don't they?
Yeah, and absolutely. And it does stop people coming forward, without a doubt. And I think the one that really triggered me more so for coming out was the family friend. Well, was the member of my family, because I knew when I came out, I really didn't think my family wouldn't believe me, but they didn't believe me. And then I was abandoned by the rest of the family because they thought I was lying. And it wasn't until you had two injustices that at the end of the day, I thought, no, my power is actually letting my family know he did this, so he wouldn't be around other people to do it. And also just to have that strength to not carry that guilt. You know?
100%.
And that was exactly why I came forward. No,
good for you, because it's a brave and courageous thing to do, isn't it? And often when we don't know what the consequences of that look like, it is difficult, isn't it? So Arlene,
I didn't expect my family to abandon me and not believe me.
Of course,
and that was also another, like, I couldn't believe that. And then that's when you realize who your true friends are, or who your true family are.
Absolutely,
because from that day on, I've never seen any of those family members that didn't believe me. So that's been nearly 15 years now. And they've not been a part of my life. But, you know, at the end of the day, I had children at the time. I had a 4-year-old boy at the time when I was sexually assaulted. And so he had aunties and uncles, you know, and then all of a sudden there was no other family members there from after that situation happened. And he used to always ask for them. Oh, where's my auntie this? Where's my uncle that? And then you had to, you know, tell them, oh, well, probably make up white lies why they're not in your life anymore. When I used to say distance was an issue. And then when they were old enough, I told them the truth. Because they had a right to know.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. And I think from my perspective, looking at that circumstance, it's about you protecting them as well, isn't it? Although obviously at that time they're obviously too young to understand. It's literally putting boundaries in place with people who, you know, you sadly maybe can't trust to have your best interests at heart at that time. I think for yourself, obviously, you know, as well, but also when you've got children, it becomes ever more important, doesn't it, to want the right people in your life that are going to look after you and care for you with genuineness, you know, rather than any ulterior motives. So Arlene, you touched on the fact, you know, sadly you've experienced sort of those 2 sexual assaults. I mean, feel free to sort of talk as much as you want about this, but I mean, how did that affect you? How did it make you feel?
Well, my first one was when I was 27 years old, and he was like a fitness mentor for me at the gym. So he had basically come to my classes, manipulated me that way. And when I took my personal training business into my home, he was really interested in becoming my personal training client. He was my first one. So, but I was actually really proud that this fitness mentor, who was quite a big, you know, quite a big name at the time in Aberdeen, you know, had done a lot in his fitness. I was actually really proud he wanted to come and carry on the personal training with me. But when the situation happened that day in my house, one thing that I find that was really important is to say, I knew something was off as soon as he entered my home, that I've never felt in the gym.
Wow, okay.
And I think that's what saved me, because with my sexual attack this time, when he came onto me and sexually attacked me, I turned it around and managed to kick him in the core, you know, in the nether regions. I managed to kick him there, which then put him onto the floor. And with that, and my almighty little self, I actually beat him up with everything that I had.
Good for you.
Punches and kicking, and I didn't stop until basically I kicked him out of the house. Now this was a big man. This is a big man of between 16, 17 stone. You know, about 5'11". I'm only 5'1.5". But I think when I instantly triggered, something was off when he came through that door. My body and myself went into survival warrior mode. Something could happen here. Where are my exits? And it's like, if you ever feel triggered or your gut instinct is telling you something, listen to it. Because it will give you a warning that could actually save you, or give you a chance to run or find out where the exit is, because that's exactly what saved me. Was I was then alert.
I know
exactly. I felt it, and I knew he came in there with some other purpose rather than working out, because it just felt different. And I'm grateful that I picked up on that, because see, if I didn't, Michelle, I don't know if I would have had the strength or the, do you know what I mean? I just, it was fast, because I was actually on a table and he was behind me, and I was actually getting the paperwork ready, and I had this glass round table. So I had my back to him as I was doing the paperwork, and all I did is felt this body push against the table and just whip me round. And then he's on top of me, you know, and that table, because it was a solid glass table and it was solid, I then had the energy and the flexibility to pick up my legs and kick him where I needed to kick him. But that's being said, I believe my fitness also gave me the strength to do that, because I knew how strong I was. I knew my flexibility. I knew what I was lifting in the gym. You know, I knew what I was, and I think all of that, all these years, 6, 7 years that I had been avidly keeping fit, truly helped me take my power back in
Yeah,
a
I can
really
imagine.
terrible situation.
Yeah, I can imagine, because often it's kind of like that fight or flight kicks in, doesn't it? And I think as you is really good advice what you you just said, but perhaps you didn't sort of realize, is that kind of going with your gut instinct. Because I think so many of us can resonate that off feeling, or that this isn't right, or they shouldn't have done that, but that wasn't my fault. And we all have that in a narrative, don't we, that kind of says to us, you know, Michelle, Arlene, listen. And but often, you know, from myself anyway, I know there's been many times where I've ignored it because I've wanted to see the good and everything else.
Yeah, because we're too nice.
Yeah, literally. But I think what you said about, you know, listening to your gut, it's one thing I take moving forward, is I always now listen to my gut and trust my own instincts. And I think, you know, for yourself in that situation, to feel that kind of energy or whatever it was as soon as he walked into your house, that is something within you, isn't it, trying to protect you. And obviously rightly so, because you needed to have those kind of literally that fight or flight instinct, obviously, in that moment.
And I truly believe everybody has that in them.
Yes,
it's just whether they're willing to listen to it. So it's like, don't doubt yourself ever. Listen to it, act on it, because literally it could save your life, or it could save you getting in a worse. Because I truly believe if I hadn't kicked him and got him out of that house the way I did, he definitely would have raped me that day. Because that was his intention. That was absolutely his intention. And I think that's what gave me my closure on that sexual assault, because I got all that energy of anger, resentment, hatred, just all those words as I was punching and kicking him. Quite violently. It was that release which gave me that closure. And I thought, the adrenaline, I don't know where it came from. And it's very much of a blur, because I remember it, because I kicked him in the nether regions. Remember, they can't stand upright properly. So he was like scuffling to the door, and it was actually great to see from my perspective.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I was like, yeah, go on, you scuttle out.
That's all he deserves. Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember opening that door, getting him out, and as I locked my door, I closed the door, I just collapsed in a heap and gave out this almighty cry that I've never cried before. More of, I don't know, relief. What the hell happened here? Oh my God. Because it's an abundance of feelings of, but also, look what I just did. In my words, I've just beaten the beast. Because he was a beast.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't know how long I was on that floor, but I remember coming down onto that floor and sitting in that sort of position, fetal position, and just crying and holding. It's probably, I remember as I was getting to the end, I was just slowly just rocking and just, if anything, probably comforting myself. I remember I had my hands here, and I was just stroking myself and going, you're okay, you're safe, he's not coming back, and just reassuring me, because I had no support and I had no one there. And I knew I wasn't going to go to the police, I think, at that time. I just thought that was me dealing with it.
Yeah. So did you reach out to anyone afterwards, Arlene?
No, nobody at all. Because my attitude was, I was a personal trainer and I took a man into my house. What is that? I thought that made me look as though I was offering for a situation to happen in my house.
Yeah, which it didn't, don't get me wrong, but no, I get the thought process at the time.
Yeah, and I thought, who would believe me? My word against his word. But in the end of the day, Michelle, I won. So it was done. It was done for me. And to be fair, never seen that man again and never heard from him ever. So I don't know whatever happened to him, but at the end of the day, that was good for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So that was, did you say that was age 27?
20, that was 27.
Okay.
And my next sexual assault, funnily enough, was a decade later at 37. Okay. But this time it was a family member. And that one, it's different. It's different than sexual assaults because I got closure when I was 27. But the family member one, actually, when he reached out and grabbed me, it was, I went into this hypnotized state and of numbness that I just actually stood there and took it, because I didn't have the same feeling as the first one. I think because he was a family member, you're never going to expect
of course not
that to happen. And when it did, it was of disbelief, going, did that really happen? Yeah, oh my God, Arlene, it did happen. Right, you've got two choices here, because at the time, when the other family member that he was living with was actually dying in the room next to where it happened, and she only had 3 weeks left to live. And I had two options. I either go in there and cause chaos, or I hold myself together, and because the person I was going in to see, to be fair, I was caring for. So I thought, just get on with my day with her, make sure she's okay, take her out of the house and just spend the rest of the day out of the house. And that's how I played it until, God bless her and God rest her soul, until she died 3 weeks later. And that's when I took my story to the family after she had been buried. So it wouldn't be, so her death wouldn't be surrounded by my sexual assault situation. You know,
well, how amazing of you to do that, because that shows, firstly, a lot of dignity in dealing with that situation, because I can imagine naturally the instinct is to go, oh my God, that just happened. And, especially when you've got someone there who no doubt would have supported you, but actually to think of them before your own feelings in that situation, I think that shows a lot of dignity and kind of compassion for the person that you are. And I admire that, because again, it's not easy, is it, in that situation?
And these predators, though, they do these things to you for a reaction. They want to see you react. They want to see, if I do this to her, how is she going to cope? How is she going to react? And that's what you've got to take on board. I was not going to raise myself in an undignified way so they could have the last laugh. No, I'm taking my power back so I actually have the last laugh. I've got the power here, and you are not going to make me do something that I would never want to do anyway.
And I think, and exactly right, Arlene. I think on that point, I think, sadly, again, with the abusers, they want to see us hurt, upset, hysterical, and I think that, and again, this is easier said than done, but just relating to my own personal experiences, the more I can remain calm, collective, happy, even if I'm not happy, but sometimes sadly pretending to be happy in their presence. They hate that. But I think that's often the best way, isn't it? Kind of, as you said, they're down here, we're up here, but not lowering ourselves to their level, because A, we are better than that, and B, they don't deserve that kind of negative energy from us. And we shouldn't let them sort of come into our space, destroy our peace, our joy, our happiness, because we don't deserve that, do we, at the end of the day?
And that's exactly what predators see in people, and that's why they abuse us. Because they see this light which shines so bright, and they've never had that light, and they're actually very jealous of it, and they actually hate you for it with so much might that they're willing to abuse you, to take away your light or dim your shine. And it's like, you picked the wrong woman. But we've all got that choice to do that. And I think as women, when they hear our stories and how we react, they do have a choice. It's just don't try not to give in to what the abuser wants to see, which is pain from you. you know?
Yeah, literally that. And I know, as we've spoken before, but I think, you know, again, I think we both agree the fact that as women together we rise, you know. I think we've all no doubt experienced, you know, obviously within this group, abuse in one form or another, sadly, but even as a collective, women across the world, you know, the more we speak out, the more we come together, and yes, share our stories of no doubt what's been really challenging times, but also share our stories of empowerment, how we've gone on to, you know, be stronger. And a lot of us don't probably feel that in the moment, do we? Or even kind of sometimes months, sometimes years later. But it is possible to feel that. And I mean, on your journey, Arlene, you know, I think, am I right in saying you had very little support kind of after those instances?
So there was no support. I mean, God bless my mum. She was the only one who believed me at the time. But we were sort of estranged at that time. So I did, so they weren't around. So my support, it's amazing how people come into your life like an angel or a spiritual mentor just pops up out the blue. You know, you could be, well, I was doing my shopping in Tesco, and I had this friend who goes, and she just went, "Hi, Arlene." And then you hear this voice and you stop, and then you have this conversation, and she's now like a Reiki master or into her spiritual side. And then she's like, "I'm feeling called for you to come in and see me for a reading or for a massage or for some Reiki treatment." And I'm going, "I'm up for that," because I've had a hell of a time. But
absolutely.
And then when I found those ladies in this spiritual tribe of mine, they were the people that helped me find myself and gave me my strength back and my empowerment back through the women's circles I used to go weekly, or my fire walking, or my glass walking, or my dips in the ocean, and just walking in nature. And they learned me the tools that I needed, because I found the spiritual side gave me the nurturing that I needed after abuse, because I felt alone. I felt I needed just like when I hold myself like this, they were the ones that were saying, you know, in a woman's circle, you can just hold yourself and just sit there and meditate. And it's putting that love back into yourself again, that self-care. And that really empowered me, because when you've been abused, you feel quite disconnected with your body. You can feel dirty. You can feel extremely low. It can affect your relationship in life, whether it's a sexual relationship or, you know, going down that route. So it's trying to get back to one with yourself again and loving you for who you are. And it's all about that touch and that nurturing and caring for yourself again.
So important, isn't it? I think, you know, one thing I've learned personally is that element of self-care, which probably wasn't there actually for years, or maybe never even there actually, but since starting to practice that has been probably one of the things that's really kind of helped me. Is there anything on your journey, Arlene? I guess if you were to pick like one thing that's helped you kind of heal or go towards that kind of, you know, being the kind of the authentic and the lovely self that you are today, is there any one thing that's kind of really helped you on that journey, do you think?
For the healing side?
Or just to become you again. Because I know you spoke about, you know, when you're in abuse, you almost lose that, don't you? You come disconnected with yourself. So anything that's really helped you become the Arlene that you are today?
I think I've always been into fitness throughout my whole life. But when I was sexually assaulted, that was when I raised the bar and I went into more elevated fitness extremes. So I went down my CrossFit route. And once I hit my CrossFit route, and then I was sexually assaulted by my member of the family, I knew I needed something more intensive for me, because it just helped me mentally. So I then went down the bodybuilding route, because it gave me focus. It gave me more. I was probably lifting heavier, so it gave me more of a purpose mentally, because I knew the family member one would mentally affect my head more than the fitness mentor one.
Yes, I can imagine. Is that because you kind of didn't expect it, shall we say? Or...
So, and I think having that as a go-to every day, which was the training, which was the eating, was it maybe shifting aside the abuse? In my mind, it wasn't. It was just another tool to help me get through what I did, because when I was sexually assaulted by my family member, I used to have this long, red, luscious, beautiful hair, right? Down to, just after shoulder length.
Yeah.
After he did that to me, that's when I shaved my head into a mohawk.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow.
straight
Just
away.
to change identity? Or?
Yeah, to change identity and to, it's a the red hair and the way I looked, I got sometimes a lot of attention from men.
Yeah.
And I think the final straw was the member of the family, because I thought, I'm not a sexual being to that person, right?
Yeah,
that was the one that I
absolutely.
did not want to be a sexual being to. And I think that's why I cut my hair, because I think I wanted to just have that warrior sort of guard up. And I think the mohawk meant business.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it does. And I've never known you, obviously, with the long hair, but it just absolutely suits you now. And I think
Thank you,
it almost suits your personality. If I've never think I've said that about someone's hair, but it really does, kind of like that strength and that kick-ass, that empowerment.
Yeah.
I think it's just
Thank
you.
Because it was very shocking for people on the outside to see one day, because it's the same red hair that it is, the same color, but to go from that extreme to the shaved head and the mohawk up, because it was from here. And I actually went from red to peroxide blonde.
Wow.
Completely changed my whole look. Like, I meant business.
Yeah,
Not saying that everybody has to shave their head and put on a mohawk. Right? That's not what I'm saying here. But it certainly helped me navigate my life as a single parent with 2 children. It was my armor.
Yeah, and I think it's often like reinventing yourself, isn't it? Because going back to the fact that we feel lost after that kind of type of, whether it's a relationship or kind of an incident, but we kind of think like, who am I? And kind of, we often sadly look at ourselves with, like you said, disgust, isn't it? And we often don't like perhaps the way we look. Confidence, self-esteem's at like an all-time low. And I think something quite simple, but even like you said, with your changing the hairstyle, or even having the nails done, or something really simple can actually be almost like, this is a new version of me, isn't it? And almost like a fresh start in itself.
And to be fair, I loved it, because it gave me permission to be this badass warrior woman that I needed to be in this world. Because when you lose the trust and the boundaries of the sexual assault, whoever sexually assaulted you, you then have to go through this world with a whole different new perspective on life. Because any man that comes into your life, or any man that you just meet down at the store, or any man that you just, could be a neighbor or whatever, my guard was up, because I thought, if he can do that and they can do that, it's just it makes you walk your path differently. Yeah,
I agree with that. And I mean, in terms of kind of that trusting then, because I know from personally, it's something I sort of struggle with, not intentionally, because I think everyone's different and I like to treat everyone on their own merit, but for yourself, I mean, can you sort of talk to us a bit about how I know you said it's changed your perspective and how you approach the world, but has it changed your perspective on kind of like the trust element, relationships, that side?
Even relationships with the family members, girlfriends and male friends, I made my circle extremely small. Really, for a wee while, it was just me, myself, and I, and my 2 children. And that was it, because I was driven to succeed in my business, and I was driven to raise them on my own. And nobody was getting in here. Nobody was going to come in and upset my little world. And if they did, believe you me, I was gunning for them. But see, that was when I realized you can still have a lot of anger. You can, you've got this pent up anger because you have this warrior woman attitude. because you're driving the masculine side and the feminine side as well. But there really wasn't much feminine side in me, because I felt as though I was the protector of the family, because there was nobody else there.
So you take on both roles, don't you?
You do. So I would definitely say the trust took many years to learn and to finally take down my boundaries, because I'm on year 10 now, and it's probably been in the last, seriously, maybe 2 or 3 years of my healing journey, and where I've gone spiritually, that the trust is now slowly but surely coming in. And we see it with the communities that are around us now, and with the Start Over project. Right? So you're drawing in a community of people from the same wavelength, and you think,
literally, isn't it?
Here's I know.
And it's literally that, I think, isn't it?
Hallelujah.
Literally.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think for anyone else perhaps listening now who kind of feels alone, I felt that loneliness, as I'm sure you have as well, Arlene. But I think the universe has a really weird and wonderful way of bringing people into our lives that we need at that time. I've had people come into my life that I've been like, oh, okay. And I've kind of, in a way, manifested it, because I've kind of, sort of reached out to certain people. If they've asked a question, I've answered, and then they've come back to me, kind of thing. But I think often we lose people then to regain the people that are meant to be our tribe, isn't it? We often see it as, oh my God, like I've lost them, and I've lost those friends, and I've lost those family members. Whereas actually, I believe everything happens for a reason, and that actually we're put on a certain path for a reason. And those people, I think as we get older, our tribe decreases in numbers anyway. I know mine certainly has, but I think it's just really important, even if it's just one trusted friend. It's just important to have someone or an organisation or the likes of us who people can reach out to.
Exactly. When you speak about the organisation, when I was at my lowest ebb, so I hadn't met the spiritual angel yet that came into my life, hadn't met her at Tesco's and done that yet, I called the Samaritans.
Yes.
And I'll never forget that phone call, because I think it was like 11:30 at night. I was on the honestly lowest ebb ever. And I think that the woman, God bless her, on that phone that night, I'll always remember her for just saying, I'm here for as long as you want. And it was like, and that's what I needed. And I think for the first 30 minutes of that phone call, I was just crying and sobbing. And even if I was trying to talk, I was just this gibbering, lost little wee soul. But she held on to that phone call and stayed there and just let me do what I needed to do until I was ready to come off that phone. And that was a very poignant moment in my life, because it could have gone another way. When you're at your lowest ebb, you've got so many thoughts going through your head.
Absolutely.
Something came through to me, phone the Samaritans, and that's what I feel, it's my spiritual higher self coming through, because a voice came in my head and said, phone the Samaritans. People I've never needed to phone before in my life. And then I'm hearing these messages, and I'm going, let's just act on that, and let's just see where this takes us.
Amazing.
It was very nervous phoning these people, because you've never needed to before.
Absolutely, so I can imagine.
You don't know what the process is or whatever. And it was one of the best experiences I have ever had, just for somebody being there for me at the end of the phone, who was a complete stranger.
And I think it's just having someone to listen, isn't it?
Listening.
Even if sometimes, I know a lot of us we want to fix and we want to make better, but I think sometimes, from these situations, it's just having someone who listens and kind of, can let you kind of tell the story and get those emotions quite literally out, whether that's crying, anger, whatever those emotions look like. And that in itself is a huge release, isn't it? Whereas often I think we think that we want people to fix it, but people sadly can't in those moments. But I think we underestimate then the fact of that listening ear is so important, isn't it? And just knowing that someone's just there, quite literally, to care.
And that's what you say. It's like the Samaritans, they're 24 hours. You know, and thank goodness they were, because you know, if they weren't, I don't know what I would have done that night. And it is having these organizations out there that sometimes don't get the write up that they deserve, unless someone's out there saying thank you guys, you know. And I'm definitely one of those people that will always be grateful for them and their organization for that, for me that night.
Absolutely. They're like knights in shining armor, aren't they?
And there's always someone there, Michelle. Like I'm saying, if you don't have support and you don't have money, you know, it's free. There is someone at the end of a phone call, and you're never alone. I've got to pick up Winter because she's
let's have a look at little Winter. Hello, Winter. Gorgeous. Hello. Oh, isn't she gorgeous? Hello, darling.
She'll settle on my lap.
Oh, love her. But no, you're absolutely right, Arlene. I think it's just often feeling alone, but then knowing where to reach out to, not feeling like a burden, because I know a lot of us have probably felt those feelings of like, oh, everyone's got a busy life, or they don't want to hear me, you know, doing this and saying that. But actually, people want to hear. I think we underestimate the fact that people want to help. It for me, with my friends and family members, I feel grateful that they have reached out to me, that they've trusted me enough to kind of come to me with their problems, you know, whatever that looks like, because I think people want to help, don't they? They want to support others. A lot of us kind of appreciate life's not perfect, you know, sadly it probably never will be. It's a bit of a roller coaster journey, isn't it? But I think we all want to kind of be there for each other on what is, you know, a difficult path, isn't it, at times?
It is very difficult, and you've got everything there in a nutshell, you know. And it's like, and even like never alone. I always believe the faith. If you don't have someone in the 3D world with you that you can touch or feel or call, that's when my angels are always around me, and I believe that, and the universe is there, and that's been huge going forward for me, and I have a massive belief in that. And I know I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for those amazing spiritual mentors that I've met on my path. Because when you meet one spiritual mentor and you start joining your women's circles, or you go to fire walks or glass walks or nature walks, you're surrounded by all these other spiritual mentors that have a different purpose. And you go, right, maybe I don't need a bit of Reiki today. Maybe I need some crystal healing, or maybe I need some, just, I don't know, just some angel healing. And you'll just go to these different mentors, and it's just great. So every 3 months, if I'm not doing a course or something that's coming up, I'll hook in with my spiritual mentor who's been there with me for 10 years and do a 2 hour, 3 hour, just me and her divulging on what we're doing, and that's amazing.
Does it make you feel kind of connected again? Kind of
and that's the nurturing care that you get if you don't have the family or the love around you, you know, like the motherly, like that type of stuff.
I know what you mean. I think spiritualism, you know, again, it's not for everyone, but I think spiritualism can give you like hope and faith as well. I know it has for me in particular, just to kind of keep pushing through the hard times, to kind of know actually you're on a path for a reason. And as though it's so hard to see that in the moment, that there is a life after it. And then the likes of kind of yourself who've gone on to be stronger, you know, thriving in life. And again, life's never without its challenges, isn't it, sadly? So we do have different kind of elements regardless. But just to know, actually keep the faith, and there is hope, and just to come out actually a lot stronger, a lot more resilient. And then to even go on to empower others, which a lot of us, you know, in this group or outside of this group, we would never have thought we'd be on the path we're on now. I know I certainly wouldn't have done, but things happen for a reason sometimes, don't they?
Yeah, but isn't it a joy that we're all on this path now?
Yeah,
but when we see us in our flow, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't it just click? and it flows.
Absolutely.
And the joy it brings me, like I knew I was obviously coming on here with you today. I was excited. It's like, you know, when we connect,
Yeah,
and it's like,
absolutely. I was
here's
like
another
that this morning.
chance.
Yeah, I know, exactly. I think it goes back to those like-minded people, doesn't it? Because I think everyone's at a different stage in the most respectful way, but a different stage of their healing. You know, I've learned from people that are sort of further along from me, so to speak, in that journey, you know, and I hope that I can teach people who are sort of not quite there with where I am now. And I think that's what it's all about for me as a collective, just to share stories, share experiences, share words of wisdom, support, and just get people kind of really knowing, like you said, they're not alone. We all get it, sadly, but we do understand what people feel and what they've been through, and actually we can help them, you know, put them under our wing and carry them to the next kind of stage of that healing journey, and, you know, get them to the person that they really deserve to be and leading the life they really deserve.
And it's like you said it with the spiritual mentors, even ourselves as mentors, we need mentors ourselves.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I love. I love the fact that I've someone to go to, because we just need that for our own head, for our own guidance, for our own purpose. And you keep learning more from the mentors, because my mentors were mentors first. They're not friends. You know what I mean? You've met them as mentors and you're meant to hook in with them. And they've walked this planet longer than I have, and they're very wise. And they're very knowledgeable, and they're just extremely powerful women. That it's a godsend to be in their just in their bit, in their little wee community.
I can imagine.
I feel in awe with my spiritual mentor. She just inspires me to keep being the woman I am today, because she'll tell me what I'm doing with the collective. And she reminds me of who I am. And only mentors like that can do that. Yeah,
definitely. And then, Arlene, is there any kind of, like, you know, words of advice you'd give anyone, you know, if they're sort of coming out of an abusive relationship? Is there anything in particular that's kind of, you know, I know you touched on the fitness side has been crucial for you, but anything that you can kind of recommend people, any words of wisdom or anything that you want to share with others?
Definitely, Michelle. You need to take action. You can, because if you lay down, you do not, you know, you'll do nothing. But if you get up, you'll do something. And you need to take that action. Now, the action can be something as simple as a walk, pouring yourself a bath, putting on some hertz frequency music and listening to that, meditating, compression mat as well. It's little things. It's even cooking yourself a dinner from scratch, rather than throwing in microwave chips into the microwave for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Nurturing your soul, feeding your soul, hydrating your soul, and grounding your soul. And when I mean grounding, it's like taking your socks off and going and standing on some grass and walk on that piece of grass for 10-15 minutes and just be at one with yourself. It's so important. But if you lay down and do nothing, or you get up and do something, and my motto in life is I've always gotten up to do something. But we've had children. We've had children, Michelle, so they were always my purpose. But you know, so, but still, before children, I still got up and did something. And that's what's driven me to be the person I am today.
And I love that, because I think, you know, I've said before in the group, a lot of us, you know, myself included, historically, I expect great things, don't we? We expect each day to be super productive, and we've got to be conquering the world, but not good enough. Whereas actually, it's stripping it back to those basics, isn't it? Like you literally, like you've just described, you know, I've got up and I've had a wonderful like hot bath in the beautiful bubbles, and I've got my hot drink next to me, or I've gone out in nature and had a little walk. It's literally those, like, enjoying the simple things in life, isn't it? And actually really being grateful for them as well, because I think often we forget what a luxury it is sometimes just to be able to go for a walk or have a hot bath and, you know, everything else.
Yeah, because we can do it. And you know, being a mom, sometimes it's getting all the duvets into the living room and watching a movie with our children.
Yeah, literally.
They're the best nights. I mean, me and Aston, we love a good horror. Can you believe it? Jordan's right, we're at that stage now, right? So it's like, okay. But she gets excited and I go, okay.
Yeah. I might look forward to those days because I hate horror movies. And so hopefully my little girl won't. I'll be hiding behind the sofa.
She's funny. She's really, really funny. But we laugh and we've gone through all that.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
Having those times, it's just simple things, Michelle, and just reminding ourselves of that when we're here.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. And then Arlene, I could speak to you forever. I genuinely could. I could be so like, good. I love the wisdom you share, the motivation, and just your energy about sort of, you know, you've obviously been through challenging times, but sort of to hear what you're doing now and how you've overcome them, and just the strength you've shown even in those moments. Because I know a lot of us, you know, some of us can resonate with that, but I know myself, I certainly didn't sort of demonstrate as much strength as you, but I take inspiration from the fact people like you can teach others kind of how to go, you know, down that path. So thank you so much for sharing that, just so openly and honestly as well.
Thank you, Michelle.
That's fine, my lovely. And is there anything in terms of how people connect with you? Because I know you've got your own sort of fitness business. And is there anything else that you want to share with others if others want to reach out to you?
Sure. If they want to reach out, it's Arlene, ARLENE _ Barclay, as in the bank, BARCLAY, 1973, which was the year I was born.
Oh wow, Riley, you look really good for your age.
I put that down to my fitness and my face.
Amazing.
Staying hydrated.
Yeah, brilliant. That's top secret. I'll make a note of that one.
So and that's on Instagram, Arlene _ Barclay 1973.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll share that in the group when I share the video.
That's perfect.
I'll share it under there, my lovely. And do you want to tell us a bit more about the book series? I know we're both involved in that, but just kind of your thoughts and feelings on that and the impact you feel it's going to have.
I think it's going to be an absolutely huge movement. And I think that's exactly what Marco Robinson has. Yeah, he basically, at the end of the day, he's the one that's got us all together, got this amazing community, and I think it's 140 odd authors.
Yes, I think it is
in this series, and there's 10 books, and I think he's given us a platform to share our traumatic stories, and it really is about overcoming obstacles. And I think if you guys get a chance to buy one of these Start Over books, you will not be disappointed. I said, whatever volume. I mean, I know for me, right? Because we all know each other. I'm buying all of them.
Oh, me too. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I want the whole collection.
The whole collection. Yeah. And but everybody's story has a different meaning, has a different trauma, has a different healing tool. And it's coming from male and the female perspective. And I think something with regards to the Start Over project is we can all heal and learn from it. And I think that is so, so important. And also for passing on to the next generation, because I know that's something my daughter will be reading and my son as well will be reading, because I'm part of this. And it's what's passed on for generations to come and what legacy it's leaving. So I'm super proud to be part of this.
Yeah, definitely. And so you should be. And I think sadly in the world these days, there's quite a lot of negativity, isn't there? And unrest and everything else. And I think for me personally, I agree with what you've said, Arlene, just in terms of actually it's giving people the tools, but also that maybe community, even through the book, just to know actually we're all going through or have been through tough times, but yet we haven't sort of necessarily stayed in that time. We've transformed to, as Sir Marco said, make a sensational comeback, you know.
Again, that's exactly
it's a challenging journey. It's not an easy journey all times, but I think, you know, we can share stories that actually will really inspire, motivate others, to give them the strength and the resilience to overcome that, which is an honor in itself, isn't it?
Absolute honor. Yeah. And then meeting all these wonderful authors.
I know, right? It's weird, isn't it? Yeah, from literally all over the world, isn't it?
Well, I was just away to say that wherever we now go on holiday, right, there's an author there. There's an author there with a house.
Exactly, free accommodation, free coffee, be brilliant.
I know,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah. I want to go somewhere warm.
I know, so do I. So do I.
No, thank you so much, Arlene, for talking to me this morning. I appreciate it so much. It's been an absolute pleasure just to see your lovely face again, but just to sort of, you know, really hear a bit more about your journey and how you've overcome that and gone on to do obviously the amazing things you're doing today. So thank you so much.
No, but thank you. But also thank you for your platform and what you're doing for domestic violence towards women. It's been phenomenal, Michelle.
Thank you, lovely. Appreciate
as well. No,
thank you, Arlene.
Keep up the great work.
And you, my lovely. Take care.
Take care. Bye. Love you. Bye.
Bye, lovely.